Hey folks, welcome back to Doc's Autos, and if you're looking for a cold start for an F-350, you've come to the right place. All right, we are back up in the garage here. We are thawed out. Truck Norris is nice and warm. And we've got going on today is part one of a two-part series for brake system maintenance and front and rear differential maintenance. I have about 134,000 miles on the pickup, and the front rotors have needed to be replaced for quite some time, and I figured as long as I'm getting new rubber all around this year as well, may as well do the rotors. So I've got front and rear rotors from Rock Auto. We've got the Raybestos coated rotors, as well as we've got Raybestos pads for all around. We also have our lube blocker front and rear diff seals, and then a whole bunch of fluids. So we're gonna go ahead and get everything jacked up and start to work. Alrighty, we are back. I've got her jacked up on some jack stands. I've knocked my studs loose. Go ahead and knock off the rest of them. I'm sure this wheel is going to be stuck on here, because they always are. Can you tell it's time for a new tie rod end? Yep, time to get the hammer. All right, well that took entirely far too much time and effort. Tried to hit it with some penetrant, tried to knock it off with the dead blow hammer, kick it with the feet, nothing. So I put a few of the lugs back on, ran it down the driveway, turning Mr. Wheel, and there it knocked loose. So take these back off. And go back to what I started far too long ago. You can see on the back of the rim here, maybe. Oh, this crap and gunk will clean that off. Same here on this extension for the wheels. So. Basically here, got a bunch of shimmy when I stop, and I know it's not just related to that tie rod, because it's done it since I bought the pickup. It's just gotten progressively worse. And if you look close, you can see down here is moving back and forth. So this is just shot, so we'll replace that. Just not today. But for now, work on getting these monsters off. Sadly, my pads are in really good shape. It's just the rotors. But we're here, we're gonna do it all. So first we've got to go ahead and pull off the caliper back here. Should be probably a couple of 10 mil bolts if forward is forward. Sorry, not 10s, probably 14s. Or 12s, or one of those metric numbers that doesn't make sense being on an American car. All right, which of my magic numbers was it? It's gonna look for the 14. No. I'm gonna go 15. How about a 16? One of these numbers has got to do it, right? All right. Hey man, didn't I say 17 originally? After 10 and before 12. Right. Well, that's not it. It's just a little rusty crusty, I guess. Smarter, not harder. Now, if I was thinking, I would have started from the back of the vehicle, worked my way forward so I could bleed back there, but I'm not that smart, so get a hanger for the caliper and pull that off. Oh, I just happen to have about 500 coat hangers from a woodworking project I painted, so we'll go ahead and twist one of those up in here. It is just important not to let your caliper hang by this hose. There we go. Now we've got a couple of pistons here. We'll push those back in. I've got a tool to do that. So we'll get those pushed back in as well. Otherwise, the rest of the caliper looks pretty good. A little rusty, a little crusty, but there's no leakage coming around from these seals, so that's the important thing to look for. The caliper was hung by the spring with care. All right, now I'll take off this bracket for the caliper and our pads. See, the pads aren't terribly worn. The inner one actually does have some abnormal wear to it, but they're not terribly worn. The outer one is far better than the inner one, as you can see, but again, I've got the parts. I've got it apart. I'm just gonna do it and it's done. They don't look like a brand I'd put on it. Select, maybe Select, Raybestos, whatever. That could be it. Maybe I put these on before, but I know I didn't do the rotors. I did one of the rear rotors because that was hanging up, and I guess I'm doing it again. All right. One of the things to look for is on your caliper bracket, you've got these pins that your caliper slides on. You can see this one is slow to return. It still is moving, but a little stiff. This one is stuck. It is not moving in or out. So hopefully I can get this old one out, get this hole cleaned up and a new one in there, so I don't have to go and replace this caliper bracket. But more on that later. All right, well, I've taken a moment to regroup, grab myself a frosty beverage that I've now lost. There we go. Got myself a frosty beverage and working on knocking these 8 nuts off. The mountains. And I took my 13/16 socket, put an extension through there, put a block or a board through here to stand on for your leverage, and you can knock these nuts off. So now I'm just taking them off the rest of the way with my thingamajigger. contrary to most of my videos on the Chevy, this is a great place for power tools. Assuming your nuts come out of the socket. I hate when my nuts are stuck somewhere. All right. There's a general lack of clarity. If this all came off in one shot, or if you take off the spacer and then the rotor comes off. Now on the back of the truck, this all comes off as one assembly because you have to take out the half axle and this giant nut to get off the rotor. So I know that's the case in the back because I've done that, but the front I haven't yet, and it's 50-50 split of it all comes off in one shot, or this comes off first. I haven't found a lot of information on the dualies. A single wheel should come off with no problem, but it's the dualies with these spacers that information is a little muddled up. I mean, these spacers have to come off anyways to replace the rotor, so there you go. All right, now this spacer should come off with some persuasion. Let's ask nicely first. It doesn't really seem to want to come off by asking nicely. So let's go for the I'm telling you stick. There's my spacer. That's not too bad. Go ahead and clean this off before I put it back together. And around the four-wheel drive hub too. I'm going to take this out too as long as everything's apart, just to kind of take a look at it, make sure it's free and not full of slop and frozen up, gummed up goo. All right. We're not reusing the rotor, so I'll use my I'm telling you stick. I'm just going to let that sit for a while because me whacking on it's just not going to help. So in the meantime, try and pull this guy out, I think, and see how that looks. I think this is a T27 or T25. 27, there we go. All right, there it is. Doesn't look too bad, actually. So typically, this has the four-wheel drive control up on the dash, and there's a vacuum line here. Turn on the switch from the dash, it automatically actuates this set of gears to engage the front drive line. Or you can simply twist it to lock for manual locking, and you can see those gears move up and back to lock in place. But this doesn't look too bad. I actually replaced both of these about 3 years ago. One of them was stuck on, and the other one I tried to take it apart and it just kind of fell apart in my hand. So we're good, we're looking good. No wear, no chipped teeth or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back in here. I will say for the pickup, we got it with 92,000 miles on it, and it's got 134,000 on it now. And I did, for maintenance, the ball joints, because those were worn, typical, and supposedly causes a cupping of the front tires. Well, I replaced the front tires, and it still cups, even after I had the alignment. When that alignment was done, good, everything was perfect, and this tie rod end was not loose at the time, so I don't know why the tires are still cupping, but they are. Otherwise, in terms of maintenance, this was the 6.0 and it was bulletproofed prior to us buying it. That's been solid. I did rebuild the fuel injection control module. The solder points on that were bad, so I did get that. I soldered them just as a check, and then I actually replaced the unit, and that's been flawless ever since. Otherwise, outside of things like oil changes, this has been pretty flawless of a vehicle. It doesn't get a whole lot of use. It pulls the horses around. Camper went down to Iowa last year, was really the only trip for picking up the Bobcat. Otherwise, it pretty much sat all summer while we built their shop. So I'm gonna go step outside in the fresh air for a moment and come back, and hopefully we can get this off. Alrighty, well that took entirely way too long. Ended up a couple of sessions of heat and beat through some penetrant down through the stud holes, and just whacked the snot out of it with my big sledgehammer. So old rotor is gone, off, and now we can start putting everything back together on this side. And the important thing is, clarify, yes, you do have to take off the spacer before you get off the rotor, because the hub or the spacer is attached with these studs. So we'll grab our new rotor, put that on. We've got our caliper and the caliper bracket to put back on, and then we can button this side back up and move over to the other side. 1 down, 3 left. Joy. Ready. What I came up with was the Raybestos Element3 coated rotors. I put them on the X3 a couple years ago, and the main concept behind them is they've got a coating in them on them to help protect against rust, corrosion, whatnot. So if your vehicle sits outside, especially wintertime, rain, you're not going to get that coat of rust on your rotors. And these definitely had that. I know that the BMW sat outside for a little while, and even after rain or snow, the rotors had no signs of rust or anything on them. Compared to my current X3, if it sits outside overnight, there's rust on the rotors. So, all right, here is our new big beefy guy. Ooh. Yeah, these definitely had some wear on them too. So, plenty okay to get rid of them. Oh. Maybe I'll make a stand for my paint gun out of it or something. Look how easy that goes on. A lot easier than how it came off. All right. Oh, let me clean up the inside of this quickly. Set him back on. And start our 8 nuts again. These, I'm going to treat these the same as lug nuts, and calls for 150 pounds on the torque wrench here. So There we go. Oh, we're getting closer now. Oh. Got our caliper bracket fixed. A little bit of heat and came right out. Did go ahead and prime this. Some black primer just to keep black paint, just to help protect it a little more. So we'll go ahead and put these new guides in, these new pins. And put her back on. New set of pins and bolts. Make sure they're the same length as the old ones. They are, that is important. All right, go ahead and put some just high temp brake grease on here. Take our boot, slip it over. I'm going to try and slap a little more grease down here, just because I can, underneath that boot. And if it stays in there, great. All right. Here we go. Now what it should do is slide in and out freely. So we'll go pull that back over that little lip here. Do the same for the other one. All right, there we go. Grab our two bolts. Get one started. Let me grab my other torque wrench here. And these, both the caliper bracket and the caliper bolts show to be set to about 56 pounds. Somebody wanted to send me one of those nice digital ones from Harbor Freight. Wouldn't pass that up. Yeah, I guess Tim Torque is better than Torque Spec, so we're going to leave it at that. I've always given it the extra ugga-dugga, and my brakes have never fallen off, so. Got two new bolts somewhere in a baggie for these new caliper pins. That brings us to two last things. We've got to compress this caliper, or the pistons in the caliper, and then set our new brake pads in place. I've got a tool here, a ratcheting tool, to compress your pistons evenly, especially if you've got a dual piston caliper. Oh, it works pretty well versus the C-clamp or the channel locks or whatever method you might use. Found this on Amazon for about 30 bucks maybe. And it is definitely handy. Ratchet it nice and slow so you don't push fluid back through your brake cylinder too quickly. And you can see slowly these pistons are being pushed back into the caliper. I don't know if I wouldn't block my own light. Now I'm not forcing hard on this, I'm not pushing hard, just a nice easy draw. All right, let's see if that's enough. Helps if I get my brake pads first, eh? All right, let's go find those. I'm gonna throw just a little grease on these guys here. To help with A, little bit of lubrication, and B, some of the vibration. Some of that, to keep some of that chatter down. You know, I guess I can say I've done it on all my vehicles I've done brakes on, and I haven't had any brake chatter, so I don't know if I just don't get it or if it's because I'm doing it. The world may never know. It's not going to hurt anything, so. There we go. Now let's see if that caliper will slide on here. Not quite yet. Oh, a little more. All right, that should do it for us. Alrighty, now let's see if you slide on. Hey, here we go, look at that. I got one. Oh, and these are bigger. Okay. One size does not fit most. There we go. Here we go, get that back down to our 56 pounds of torque. I will show you why I was having difficulty with this. There's a triangular, not on the old pins. Oh, here it is. Old pins too. There's a triangular cut on these, and they nest into the caliper bracket itself, or the caliper. There's a flat spot, so you can't try and set your pin on that flat spot and have it seat. Kind of helps it preventing the pin from spinning, working its way loose and whatnot. So trying to get that seated in there, looking at it from behind, but we're in. And good to go. So I'm going to put this tire back on, and what probably has taken me about 4 hours to deal with rusted on stuff, heating, beating, whatnot. It's probably going to be condensed down into something about 25 minutes for you, roughly. So I'm not going to show you the driver's side. That's going to be a repeat of this, but we will go ahead to the back end now, because that, in theory, is more simple to do. But it does sound a little more daunting because you do have to take out half of the axle in the back. So not tough to do. I think it's actually easier than this, but there's more parts to take out, and you got to deal with the axle and getting that tightened back up properly and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and move on there next. All right, folks, going through and editing the video here, I was hoping to get everything into, 30 to 40 minutes for both front and rear brakes, and that's just not going to happen. So I'm going to cut it into two parts, close off this one here for the front brakes, and the next video is going to be for the rear brakes. So thank you for watching this one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and turn on that notification bell. Make sure you get the notification when the next video comes out for the rear brakes and everything else we post. Also, don't forget to follow us over on Facebook and Instagram at Doc's Autos, and we also have a Patreon and Teespring account as well. So until the next video, thanks for watching. Take care.